Why are electric vehicle sales slumping and dealers struggling to sell EVs? It's making people wonder if the EV revolution is already fizzling out. But is that really the case? We're currently witnessing one of the most significant transformations in the automotive industry since cars replaced horses. Back then, drivers had to decide between petrol and electric power, much like today. Interestingly, car manufacturers offered both options even back then. However, the rapid expansion of our interstate road system outpaced the electrification of rural America. This allowed petroleum to become widely available and pushed electric vehicles to the sidelines. Fast forward to today, and America is now connected by a vast network of roads, while advancements in battery technology have made electric vehicles competitive with their gas and diesel counterparts. So what's next for EVs? Despite the recent headlines, the EV market is far from over. In fact, many car manufacturers are doubling down on the EV commitments. Companies like Tesla, Ford, and GM are investing heavily in electric vehicles, with plans to release numerous new models in the coming years. Additionally, government regulations around the world are increasingly favouring EVs. Countries like the UK, France, and Norway have announced plans to ban the sale of new petrol and diesel cars in the coming years, further driving the shift towards electric. Moreover, the infrastructure for EVs is rapidly expanding. Charging stations are becoming more widespread, making it easier for people to own and operate electric vehicles. So, while the headlines might suggest otherwise, the reality is that the EV market's still growing and evolving. With advancements in technology and a growing push towards sustainability, electric vehicles are likely to play a significant role in the future of transportation. The shift towards electric vehicles isn't just a trend, it's becoming a significant part of our automotive landscape. With environmental concerns driving this change, EV sales have surged in recent years. In 2022, EV sales, including both plug-in hybrids and pure battery electrics, increased by an impressive 46.5%. This growth continued into 2023, with EV sales rising by 53.8%, reaching a record 9% share of the total car market. Despite expectations of a slowdown, the momentum behind EVs remains strong. In the first quarter of 2024, plug-in vehicle sales skyrocketed by 177%, outpacing the modest 5% increase in overall car sales. This rapid growth has further expanded the market share of EVs. Contrary to some media reports suggesting a plateau in EV sales, the data indicates otherwise. While the rate of adoption has slowed somewhat, EV sales continue to increase nationwide. This growth is not uniform across the country, with higher adoption rates seen on the east and west coasts compared to the more gradual uptake in the centre of the country. As we move forward, the adoption of EVs isn't just a matter of choice, but also a necessity to address environmental concerns and reduce our carbon footprint. The automotive industry is undergoing a transformation, and EVs are at the forefront of this change, reshaping the way we think about transportation and sustainability. Make no mistake, the electric vehicle revolution is here to stay. Despite some articles suggesting otherwise, the trend towards EVs is only getting stronger. One noticeable shift is in the type of EV consumers prefer. While in 2023, around 80% of EVs sold were pure battery electric vehicles, sales of plug-in gasoline-electric hybrids are on the rise, now making up a quarter of total EV sales. Many buyers are choosing plug-in hybrids as a bridge to eventually going all-electric. This shift is expected to continue as manufacturers release more plug-in hybrids into the market. One of the main reasons for this shift is the three-headed challenge of the EV market: limited affordable battery electric options, fear of range anxiety, and an evolving public charging infrastructure. Consumer affordability is a key concern for both car sellers and governments. Governments are aware of the need to balance the cost of technology, which comes from research and development, with what the average consumer can afford. The good news is that EV prices are already decreasing, and with dozens of new electric vehicles expected to enter the market in the next 18 months, competition is expected to drive prices even lower. Market experts predict that EVs will surpass a 12% market share in 2024, with over 2 million new EVs on the road in 2025. As driving ranges improve and charging infrastructure expands, the future of EVs in America looks bright. Consumers are recognizing that the time's right for electric vehicles, not just for the environment, but also for practical driving reasons. Electric cars have gone from being niche curiosities to mainstream options in just a few years. In the US, there's a growing list of EVs from various automakers like Ford, Volkswagen, Hyundai, Kia and Volvo, with GM and Nissan also joining soon. In China, the electric car market is even more diverse, while in Europe, PSA Group and Stellantis offer a wide range of electric models. Even Toyota, long focused on hydrogen fuel cells, seems ready to embrace EVs. However, as electric cars become more prevalent, the oil industry, facing potential losses, is stepping up its criticism. One of the latest claims is that the emissions from mining materials for EV batteries negate any environmental benefits of electric cars. In Australia, the government has been spreading misinformation suggesting that electric cars are impractical because of limited range and towing capacity. They argue that EVs will spell the end of beloved Australian pickup trucks. But are these claims actually true? Research from the Yale School of Environment, published in Nature Communications, tackled the question. They found that despite the need for materials like nickel, lithium and cobalt in EV batteries, the overall emissions of electric cars are significantly lower than those of internal combustion vehicles. The researchers discovered that the supply chain for conventional vehicles is so environmentally damaging that electric cars can't be surpassed in terms of emissions, even when considering indirect emissions from generating electricity. This study highlights the misinformation surrounding electric cars and underscores the environmental benefits that they offer. You know, there's been a lot of talk about electric vehicles lately, especially regarding their environmental impact. Some folks argue that the entire supply chain of EVs, from mining raw materials to manufacturing batteries, isn't exactly clean. But a recent study from Yale combined different ideas from energy economics and industrial ecology to dive deep into this issue. They looked at things like carbon pricing, life cycle assessment, and how energy systems are modeled to figure out if EVs are really as eco-friendly as they seem. The results were pretty surprising. Professor Ken Gillingham, who is part of the study, explains that many people think if we price the carbon emissions from EV supply chain, these cars would become super expensive. However, they looked at both EVs and fossil fuel vehicles and priced them based on their carbon emissions. EVs actually came out as the more cost-effective option. The team used a fancy modelling system to analyse the entire US energy system and found that the real environmental issue lies with fossil fuel-powered vehicles, not EVs. They also found that as the electrical grid becomes cleaner, EVs become even more environmentally friendly compared to traditional cars. Lead researcher Paul Wolfram highlights the importance of transitioning to EVs, especially in countries like the US with plenty of renewable electricity. He says that the quicker we switch to EVs, the better. In the end, the researchers concluded that not only do EVs have lower direct emissions than traditional cars, but their indirect emissions are also lower. This means that transitioning to EVs isn't only good for the environment, but also a smart move economically, as long as we continue to clean up our electricity production. The reality is, while driving an electric car may seem like a positive choice, the true motivations behind these attacks raise questions. The rapid normalization and mainstream acceptance of electric vehicles, which seemed improbable just a decade ago, now appear to be a target for skepticism. Do you guys agree? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time.